In this video, we're going to be looking at changing between the two forms of quadratics, standard form and vertex form. Standard form is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Vertex form is f of x equals a quantity x minus h squared plus k. So when we're changing from standard form to vertex form, there's a couple ways to do it, but I find the easiest way to be just finding the vertex. So let's look at a couple of examples. Example 1, we have f of x equals 3x squared plus 12x minus 9. So our first step is to identify our a, b, and c. So our a is always our number in front of our x squared. So that's going to be 3. Our b is always our number with our x, so b is going to be 12. And our c is the number by itself, so that's going to be 9. So the vertex formula tells us that h equals negative b over 2a. So in our case, we have negative 12 over 2 times 3, which gives us negative 12 over 6, which is negative 2. And then to find k, we do f of negative b over 2a, which we found to be negative 2. So we get 3 times negative 2 squared plus 12 times negative 2 plus 9, which is 3 times 4 plus negative 24 plus 9, which comes out to be negative 3. So now that we have our h and our k, we can put our equation in vertex form, which again is f of x equals a quantity x minus h squared plus k. Our a is going to be the same a we had before. So we have f of x equals 3 x minus negative 2 squared plus negative 3. And if we simplify that, we get f of x equals 3 times x plus 2 squared minus 3. So let's try another example. Our second example is f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 5. So again, let's find our a, b, and c. So a is equal to 1, b is negative 4, and c is 5. So again, let's find our h. H is equal to negative b over 2a. So we have negative 4 over 2 times 1, which gives us 4 over 2, which is just equal to 2. And then again, to find k, we plug our h back into our function, so we have f of 2, which is going to give us 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 5. So we have 4 minus 8 plus 5, which should give us 1. So now that we have our h and our k, we can plug that into our vertex form. So our a stays the same. Our a is 1. So we have f of x equals 1 times x minus h is 2 squared plus our k is 1. So we have f of x equals x minus 2 squared plus 1. Now let's talk about changing from vertex form to standard form. When we change from vertex form to standard form, all we're really doing is simplifying. So let's look at an example. Our first example is f of x equals 3 quantity x minus 4 squared plus 6. So we're just going to apply our order of operations. And the very first thing that our order of operations says is to deal with exponents. So we're going to have f of x equals 3 times x minus 4 plus 6. The reason I've written it this way is that so that you can see where the terms are coming from. By squaring it, we're just saying multiply it by itself. So now that we've written it this way, we can FOIL it, which is first, outer, inner, last. We can FOIL it and get the terms we need. So we're going to have f of x equals 3 times, we have x times x for our first, which gives us x squared. And then we have outer, which is x times negative 4, so negative 4x. We have inner, which is negative 4 times x, which gives us negative 4x. And then we have last, which is negative 4 times negative 4, giving us positive 16. And don't forget your plus 6 at the end. Next, we deal with the parentheses we have. So we're going to distribute. But before doing that, what would make it a little bit neater is if we went ahead and dealt with our common terms. So I'm going to have f of x equals 3 times x squared minus 8x, because I have a negative 4x and a negative 4x, plus 16 plus 6. So now let's distribute. This is going to get multiplied to each term. So we'll have f of x equals 3x squared minus 24x plus 48 plus 6. Now, our last step is just to combine like terms again. We have this 48 and this positive 6, so we have f of x equals 3x squared minus 24x plus 54. And now it's in standard form. So let's try another example. So we have f of x equals 6 quantity x plus 2 squared minus 3. So again, the first thing we're going to do is square this. So we're going to have f of x equals 6 times x plus 2 times x plus 2 minus 3. So we get f of x equals 6 times our first is x squared, our outer is plus 2x, our inner is plus 2x, and our last is going to be plus 4. And don't forget your minus 3. So now let's clean it up a little bit by combining our like terms. So we get 6 times x squared plus 4x plus 4 minus 3. So now let's distribute to each of our terms. So we have f of x equals 6x squared plus 24x plus 24 minus 3. And then our last step is to just clean up again by dealing with our like terms. And we have 6x squared plus 24x plus 21. And now it's in standard form.